That's a shy knowledge whale.
Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. In 2015, Daniela Perez, a woman in a wheelchair who had no feet, won a treadmill and a walk-in sauna on The Price is Right. That is just, oh man. In 1955, cigarettes were sold in vending machines that only accepted quarters, but a pack of cigarettes only used to cost 23 cents. So instead of raising the price, cigarette manufacturers actually included 2 pennies within each package. In the town of Laguna, Brazil, a pod of bottlenose dolphins have been cooperatively fishing with fishermen since 1846. The dolphin herd mulletfish towards the shore and signal the fishermen to cast their nets. And they do this every day. In 2014, a man spent over $40,000 buying out 2 IMAX theaters in Beijing because his ex-girlfriend 7 years prior had dumped him for not being able to afford movie tickets. During World War I, Allied soldiers would fire thousands of rounds at random over the German trenches to boil the coolant water in their machine guns so that they could make tea. One of the first ever computer bugs was caused by an actual bug inside a computer in 1947 when a moth short-circuited a US Navy computer. Oh, fly towards the light. Thanks to 3D printing, it is now possible for blind expectant mothers to have a 3-dimensional ultrasound printed for them to sense the image of their unborn child. In 2014, student loans hit a record $1.2 trillion in the US, the same size as the entire economy of South Korea. Banks have therapists known as wealth psychologists who help super rich clients who are mentally unable to cope with their immense wealth. Sounds like a good problem to have. Blair McMillan from Guelph, Ontario, Canada was concerned that his family was becoming too attached to technology, so they spent the entirety of the year 2013 living like it was 1986 with a rotary phone, boombox, and tube television. Research conducted by NASA in 1995 concluded that the perfect nap lasts for about 26 minutes. I recently started taking power naps, and let me tell you, change your life. Tesla Motors doesn't spend any money on advertising. Instead, they put all of their money into making their cars as good as possible. And I would definitely say it shows. Sleeping throughout the night only became common within the last 200 years. Before then, people had a first and second sleep, often working, reading, or even making love for an hour or so between sleeps. Now that's efficiency. On June 16th, 2014, Jeremiah Heaton of Abington, Virginia, claimed the only unclaimed habitable area left on Earth, Bir Tawil, as his kingdom, only so that his 7-year-old daughter, Emily, could be a real princess. A wealthy man named Howard Lutnick donated more than $65 million to Haverford College because when he was going there years ago, he lost both of his parents to cancer. However, the college let him go tuition-free for all 4 years, and that was his way of paying them back. A study by biologists at the University of North Florida concluded that male dolphins actually have a lifelong bromance with each other and team up to serve one another as a wingman, helping herd fertile females and sometimes even team up to keep females from mating with other males. Maybe instead of the pound, they do a little Alexander I, the king of Yugoslavia, refused to attend public events on Tuesdays after 3 of his family members died on that day of the week. However, after finally being forced to make an appearance on a Tuesday in October of 1934, he was assassinated. Theophilus Van Cannel invented the revolving doors in 1881. He did so because he hated chivalry, especially the idea of opening doors for women. The petals of a sunflower are actually each single-petaled flowers. The sunflower itself is actually a cluster of hundreds of flowers. Colonel Sanders got fired from dozens of jobs, including being a lawyer, and found himself broke at the age of 65. That's when he decided to start KFC. I do say I found myself broke. Let's fry some chicken. Liam Neeson actually used to be a school teacher and did it for 2 years, but then got fired for punching a 15-year-old boy in the face when the student pulled a knife out in class. Liam Neeson, he's always been a badass. Research gathered at Vienna University concluded that the older a father is when he has a child, the less attractive the child will be. Looks like I got some work to do. The quickest red card ever given out in soccer history was just 3 seconds into the match when player Lee Todd, who played for Chippenham in the UK, exclaimed, "F me, that was loud," after the starting whistle was blown. Back in 2005, there were 71 potential witnesses to a murder in a Belfast bar, who all claimed to be in the toilet during the attack. The 4x3 toilets became nicknamed the TARDIS. All the way up until 2006, Russian cosmonauts carried pistols, shotguns, and machetes into space. forests so that they could defend themselves against wolves, bears, and other wildlife after their return to the Siberian wilderness. In Soviet Russia, spaceflight to you. A 9-year-old orphaned child from Rwanda named Justus Uweisu lived in a garbage dump until American Red Cross workers helped him. Today, he's 23 and is attending Harvard on a full scholarship. A 10-year psychology study undertaken in Germany since the 1980s found that men who kissed their wives before leaving for work lived, on average, 5 years longer, earned 20 to 30% more, and got into fewer car accidents. UPS was started in 1907 by 18-year-old Claude Ryan and 19-year-old Jim Casey with one bike and $100 they borrowed from a friend. See, every dream starts somewhere. There's a mobile game that was released in 2014 titled Run Forrest Run that was inspired by the Paramount Pictures 1994 classic Forrest Gump, where you literally run through his entire life story. Carrie Fisher wore no underwear in Star Wars because George Lucas convinced her that there was no underwear in outer space. Oh, George Lucas, pervert, oh goodness. Hopscotch, written by Julio Cortázar, published in 1966, is a 150-foot chapter-long book that makes sense no matter what chapter you choose to read first or last. In 2015, President Barack Obama personally thanked Japan for karate, karaoke, manga, anime, and of course, emojis. Throughout the 1990s, there was a homeless man in New York City named Gangaram Mahays who always purposefully got sent to prison where he would receive 3 meals a day and a clean bed. That's actually kind of brilliant. In 2006, 84-year-old Edith Macefield from Seattle refused a $1 million offer from a shopping mall developer to move, so it was built around her house. In fact, Pixar's film Up was later modeled after her home. In 2012, the entire village of Sodito in Spain won the lottery, except for one man who was never offered a ticket as those that were selling them forgot to ask him. In 1914, British World War I soldier Thomas Hughes tossed a beer bottle with a letter to his wife into the English Channel, which was discovered in 1999 by a fisherman, who then delivered it to Hughes' 86-year-old daughter. In 2013, a 10-year-old boy named Griffin Sanders from Colorado saved his great-grandmother's life in a speeding vehicle after she fell unconscious. He did this by driving it himself, which he learned by playing Mario Kart. Since the beginning of recorded history, the world has only been at peace for a total of 268 years. That's only 8% of the time. Giraffes only sleep for 30 minutes a day. In fact, until the 1950s, it was thought that they didn't sleep at all. It turns out that they sleep the least out of all mammals. In 1991, billionaire George Barber from Alabama had a bunch of life-size dinosaurs built and placed randomly in a 10,000-acre wooded area around his home. Well, what else are you gonna do when you're a billionaire? Soviet Union leader Joseph Stalin's son Yakov was captured while fighting the Nazis in 1941, but Yakov died in captivity because Stalin refused to trade a marshal for a lieutenant. The Mexican drug cartels made a combined estimate of $29 billion in 2010. That's about the same earnings as Google. After the release of Rocky IV, a joke was making its way around Hollywood that since Rocky had run out of opponents, that he would have to fight an alien in the 5th installment. However, shockingly, screenwriters Jim and John Thomas took the joke seriously and wrote a screenplay based on that joke, which ultimately became the plot for the movie Predator. There are actually some women in the world with 4 color receptor cells in their eyes, which can allow them to see 100 million colors. To put that into perspective for you, a typical human only has 3 color receptors and can only see about 1 million colors. In 1981, a Japanese interpreter once translated a joke that Jimmy Carter delivered during a lecture as, "President Jimmy Carter told a funny story, everyone must laugh," and the crowd went wild. Elephants are one of the only non-human animals who can suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Between the 1940s and 1970s, Harvard, Yale, and other Ivy League schools actually took nude photos of each freshman student in an attempt to link physical attributes to intelligence. Notable names include George Bush, Diane Sawyer, Meryl Streep, and Hillary Clinton. Wow, that's creepy. The time machine in Back to the Future was originally going to be a refrigerator, but was changed when the creators thought kids would trap themselves in fridges while trying to replicate the scene. Mama, I'm stuck with the mayo! China is currently constructing the world's longest and highest glass-bottom bridge, and it will be over 430 meters long. Approximately 27 people die every year using elevators in the United States. However, 1,600 die from taking the stairs. People die from taking the stairs. That's like natural selection at its finest. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to use your flipper and slap that subscribe button to subscribe to my channel so that you can catch my next video. I upload every Tuesday and Saturday. And be sure to add me to Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. I'm slapping my flipper a lot so that you can catch everything I'm doing off of YouTube. I will see you guys next video. Thanks for watching. Peace. Oh!